All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back here, and welcome to the new subscribers, and welcome to all of you. Yeah, we're together. We are not anymore on two separate screens so far, and it's been we had a great discussion actually for reaching out to your own happiness as a twin flame and the importance of being that reaching out to this internal happiness. And when you are happy with this within yourself, that's going to be reflecting within the twin flame from within you. To remind you that with your twin flame, you have exchanges within consciousness. With that consciousness with them within you, that can create a lot of internal conflicts or internal situations or internal happiness for when you're happy with the energy of the twin flame within you in there. But when you're balancing the unbalanced situations, the problems, the situations in there, that's going to be bringing it to looking at within yourself, and you're going to be able to reach out for your own happiness as a twin flame. It's very beautiful. It's very powerful, and that's what we are going to be sharing out today. So without other ado, I'm giving you here, Paulina.
Thank you, baby. Yeah, I think that most of the discussion will be today about taking responsibility for your part of the connection. And like especially, we don't choose necessarily how long will take or will continue specific connection, and it's this is just determined by the life itself. And some of those connections can be intense, but also it can be very short-lived. But it doesn't mean that you have to stop. And even after that, it's maybe even more tricky to try to find your power just to continue on your own and just to not to sit in one spot, because it can be tricky to find out like what am I supposed to do now. It's like it looks like this journey just went to poop. Like something broke, something dissolved. What am I supposed to do? I don't see the point anymore. And the journey will be asking you to step up and just continue and start building your own happiness, but not from the something that was delivered to you, because that's what normally happens when the ignition starts. Something is delivered to you and you believe that it's gonna last forever and it's gonna work on its own, while the journey is teaching you to try to make it your own way and work on that. Actually, you see the road, you see the potential, but it's not as easy as just getting it from the heavens and it's gonna stay there. Most of the time those things are dissolving and disappearing, and it's very hard, it's very painful, but it's asking you to find the strength to rebuild it on your own without counting on external experiences that something will be delivered to you. You're meant to create that, and it's not always the way you want it, and it's not always this most ideal scenario that you imagine in your mind. So it's a little bit of this inner strength that is required to push forward, to try to convince yourself, most importantly, that you still want to be engaged in the journey, like you still want to build your life and you deserve your happiness and you're ready to move forward, no matter the circumstances. So
That sorry, but having a cold throat chakra problem, but I'm okay. I have a very good nurse. She's very well taken care of me. Just she needs that recognition, so here in public. Okay. But talking about this inside of you, those kind of like a processes. What's happened when you're not in that physical connection with your twin flame. You're not in that closeness. You don't have the communications. You don't have the things in there. And this is going to be the time that you're going to be reaching out with an depth within you. And in that depth, you're going to be finding that strength as a twin flame, that your power, as Paulina said, you to keep on going. You're not going, keep on going for them because they are your reason. And now, since they're not within you in the physical, which is a lot of the twin flames have this, oh, I'm not gonna do anything because I'm not in the physical, and so on and so on for it. Two, it is about you because you put them the reason for you to change. While the reason for you to evolve and grow as a twin flame should be you. You and our personal relationship as the universe. If you see the universe, that it's behind the background of the video, and then that's where it's posted for. I will love it. Too, but the power is lying within you. Realizing that within the power, you're gonna be okay to go with or without it, and from that internal power of love within inside of it, you're gonna be able to understand the circumstances, the situations, and those consciousness patterns that you received from your twin flame, and they are within your consciousness through the mirroring neurons. You're going to be able to have this awareness of understanding, and then it's going to be that power that's going to kick in. It's going to be kicking in for you to keep going, even if it's harder, even if nobody understands you, even if like for a lot of you, I've been talking through the years, a lot of you talk to other people who try to explain what twin flame is, particularly your twin flame in there. And you try it and you try it and you try it, and then nothing happened. Like nobody's understands you. Only the people who understand you is the twin flames in the journey. So seeing it and that misunderstanding and those lack of understanding about that type of love there is in there, it's kind of like a bumps you down. But when you reach out within the depth within you, within your soul, you're going to be discovering incredible power of love towards you. And that's going to begin to heal patterns inside of you, codependency inside of you, a lot of this, oh, I need to be, I have to be, it must be, and so on. And you begin to kind of like open up your path into your personal ascension. Ascension is a level above of what you've been in there. Hi Lorna, and thank you for coming in. And by the way, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lorna. Happy birthday to you. Woohoo! All right. If you have a happy birthday, you can post it in the chat. We knew that Lorna has a birthday, but if you have a birthday, you can post in the chat. We can sing for you. That's not a problem. Okay. Thinking about this and going on, I think Darling has some things to say about it because I can sense it. Yeah.
I was getting off track with the singing.
Ah.
I always have something to say, especially when this I can see regarding this current belief systems. That's very important for you to monitor yourself. Where do you stand? Because very often there is this belief systems that if something is not working for your twin and you try to build yourself and build your life with some other connection, it may not work, or it's not meant to be. It's like it's gonna be bumpy and it's gonna be dangerous and all of this. There is a little bit of fears that are happening in a community that people are afraid to try again with someone else, and by doing this, instead of seeking for their internal guidance, they will be listening to what other people have to say regarding the journey. And we were talking a little bit about that, like whatever you really believe in your current experience, that's gonna be manifested. That's why we have so many different expressions of twin flame journey, because some people are able to get out of this mindset of anyone putting any limits on themselves, and they will be starting questioning, why am I allowing someone else telling me what to do, and what am I supposed to do with my life? So it's kind of reaching for this internal guidance really, and starting to listen to your life and trying to understand, oh, my life is maybe removing some people from my life. Maybe that was necessary. Maybe that means that I'm meant to evolve even further, but in other environment and all of this. And just maybe a reminder for everyone to be very mindful to what other people are saying, because there is really a lot of fear of moving forward, because it may feel like, oh, this super higher power who organized all of this, they will be unhappy because I'm breaking out of the twin flame experience. And I felt this fear, it's such a weird, this is a block that you have to overcome and kind of take this risk. And just, for now I can say, looking from my experience, it was scary, it was feeling like I'm going against something, but in the long run, looking at how much evolution was behind these fears, I'm very happy I did this move, right? Like, it's as you kind of outgrow this mindset and this belief system that you cannot go against your twin flame coupling, or this initial twin flame experience, because you're going against this flow. But not really, it's just kind of testing you. Can you think outside of this paradigm? Can you see yourself not as just this coupling, that you are just with someone or you don't exist? You're still individual being who can get out of the paradigm, get out of something that it's not really working, because it's keeping you in this one limited space. And you see, oh, there is something else, and it's different dimensions, different levels. It's not only tied to this, I don't want to say limited, but still this mindset that we are part of something that it's unbreakable, and it's like the definite state, especially when we are talking that we are meant to be with one specific person. So this is really like something worth to think about, like, where is your limit? Like, where do you actually stand? And are you allowing other people to tell you what is wrong or what is right, or this can be risky, this can be safe, unsafe, and so on. So,
Good job.
A lot of love from Lorna. Thank you,
Yes.
Lorna.
Thank you, Lorna. Another thing that I want to bring in, and why did this reaching out for your own happiness as a twin flame is important. Some other people, they begin to, what was it, lashing out, talking negative about their connection, their experiences with twin flame, and that begins to be kind of like a reflecting for to it, and then that it's turning to this negative experience. You got to be very careful how you listen, but how you're hearing as well. Okay, because if you listen and you are hearing properly within the energies and the vibrations inside of it within, you will understand really that the happiness in there as a twin flame is crucial to you. And that is a personal power, that's a personal level. And most of the people do not get in there because their focus is what? My twin flame, but they don't look themselves. Okay, you want to fix the mirror, you want to fix the reflection, fix the origin, is you. And when you look at yourself in the mirror, what do you see? Okay, and this is why the power of this mirroring neurons, this consciousness inside of it within yourself, is going to be able to help you out. Okay, if you understand really your internal powers within that for it, because you're going to be seeing yourself from within, your internal mirror, how you act, how you react, where you should be, how you should be happy, how should you deserve this. Okay, you deserve to be happy, you deserve to have that experience here as a twin flame, as a soul born into the body without the energies. You deserve to experience eternal peace in the soul while in the body, not when you passed, because you're get out of all this physical problems and all this.
And not in next incarnation.
Yeah, and so forth. Can you imagine the experience, the freedom of the spirit while you're here in your body? You see, most people, they don't talk to you like that there. But that is the power of the twin flame. All right, we got a question here. Can you talk about the inner child who holds the key to much of this? Oh my God, yes. Your inner child. Okay, your inner child holds everything, your internal happiness. I mean, I spoke about the inner child in my main channel a long time ago about that, where I found the little deer. I found the little deer in the darkness in the corner, scared, afraid, not loved, not appreciated. Nobody pays attention to it. That's what it was, the inner child in there. But I found it. I give it a hook, and it's like, hey, but you and I, we have a good time to talk about it. Nobody's taking care of you, but well, you tend to go. You satisfied your internal inner child. You have to be happy with your child. I figure out a lot about my childhood, my problems, my situations, my codependencies, my things. Figure out certain situations that I was not accepting. Now, since I begin to be awakened as a twin flame in there, the inner child energy helped me to understand. I was not my parents. I was me. Maybe I didn't have the proper love, but the divine loved me. The divine was always guiding me. The divine always showed it to me. It was always the people who were loving to me and so on. But I did not love myself because I was not happy with me, myself, the way I am. So looking at with those situations, the inner child is going to be helping you to say what it needs. He needs the proper love. He needs the proper energy. He wants to have this experience in there. But the inner child can also tell you, point you out, I'm hurting here, I'm hurting there. And that is going to be that you have to pay attention on your adult self, because the wounds as an inner child can expand into adulthood because they begin to be like a bigger emotional problems. And the problems of the inner child can begin to create more additional problems, more additional layers. And when you see that as an awakening twin flame, when you put that internal happiness, you're going to begin to tackle down those layers. You're going to begin to tackle down till you reach that core issue that it was, and you heal it. You put that love in there. But again, it's related to finding your internal happiness from within. And the journey is going to be asking you for this. Like it or not, it will. But it's going to be one of the best things you're ever going to do.
But not only that, I think the more you, first, once you acknowledge that you have inner child with you, and maybe you will start seeing some dreams, there will be some communication. You will start being aware that, you have those hurt parts of yourself that you're projecting on others. Like you're trying to find parents in other people. And you try to find someone who can give you whatever feeling you were missing from your parents. So that's one thing, like why you have to understand, like you cannot project your needs on someone else. Like you have to give yourself everything that you need, because otherwise you will be dependent still. Because you're gonna be seeking out those emotions, but you will be in constant, it's almost like fear, it's like, what if I'm gonna lose this person? So you need to make sure that you can develop these feelings, those this trust you with yourself. And that's really how it feels. Like you need to find your child inside and say, I'm gonna take care of you. I don't care about other people, because honestly, everyone can leave you, and eventually will, right? Like talking from this higher perspective. But if you have developed this sense of, I'm gonna take care of myself until very last moments, it brings this lot of peace and heals very strongly these codependencies, because like you're the only one who can just give you everything that you have, because you're always with yourself, with your small self, right? So that's beautiful. But at the same time, I believe that the more you understand your inner child, you will be catching yourself when you're acting from the space of inner child. Like when it's your inner child is speaking, that you're losing your temper or you're scared of something, and you have these automatic responses, and you may start remembering some triggers from the past, because some situation will sound familiar. So you're gonna be able to track down easier those old patterns and heal them or catch them, right? Because that's also very often the case. We just need to catch it so we can respond another way, the more mature way, not from the space of inner child, that it's automatic. So that's very beautiful. The more you listen about listen to your own voice and ask yourself. And really, meditations, I think they are very useful when working with inner child. Like I remember Mel was having one of these videos that he was introducing this idea, and for me, just after the first session, that was such a big release, just to acknowledge that this, like, I saw my inner child for the very first time, and then there was just some communication and dream. But this is a part of you that you have to discover, because it helps in healing so much.
And don't hide like you don't have this kind of like honesty with your inner child. The honesty within your inner child is going to lead into a lot of beautiful things, and it's going to help you to, because the inner child hid inside those emotions under the rock. But when you have the honesty with your inner child, and the inner child told you, you're going to be able to really identify not only the problems, you're going to be identified dreams, hopes, faith, beliefs. Those are the key elements for your internal happiness in there. You're going to be able to find all those dreams, like you've been dreaming to be a king, you've been dreaming to have a great princess, for example, if you're masculine, or if you're feminine, finding the prince on a white horse, and so on. It's kind of like all these energies that as a child, from reading the bedtime stories, okay, and from there you're going to be able to see it all. Now it's happening in the reality. You're understanding the happiness that it's coming, and it doesn't matter what the situations are. The power lies in you. Okay. Big thing that I've been seeing it, that the people are waiting for their twin flame to give them that power. You need to understand, if you're waiting in there to receive that power from your twin flame, you actually do not give that power to your own self. It's not ignited. It's the happiness is not ignited. And when the happiness is ignited within you, for it can lead to two positions. Either you're going to be with them, or you're going to be without them. Okay? And the journey is going to be determined by the universe. If the universe takes them out of your life, no communications, no talks, no more seeing it, no proper behaviors, no proper life positions is in there, and there is no point, because you're not going to be able to do that inner work togetherness to practice it. The big thing of practicing in there for is like you practice your own self, your own behavior with others, how you act and behave towards your own self. If you understand that power of the twin flame in there, you will understand so much about you. Okay? But you're also still human. You also have emotions. Okay? But some of those, they're gonna come and they're gonna rise up from the inner child. That could be the angry child. That could be the child that is demanding things. That could be the inner child that is still mad that doesn't receive the toy that needed to receive. Could be the angry child that went into a silence because doesn't receive the love that he needs it. There's so many things in there, but when you see it, you're gonna be able to pump that love out, because that love, that internal happiness in there, is gonna be reflecting towards the connection, because you're connecting the things, the missing links within yourself. You're gonna be processing the emotions that have not been processed for a very long time. Excuse me. So that's about
that takes a lot of pressure, right? Like also pressure from
child.
other person that you're not projecting it anymore, and it's just, and if you're both able to catch yourselves in those moments, then you will start seeing your partner, like you will start seeing their inner child, right? Like, and you will stop judging it. The moment that you're able to really catch this, I don't want to say unhealed, but like immature parts, so they just didn't have a chance to mature. you're taking a lot of pressure off the connection, because you see, okay, like we are here to evolve, like we are here to mature, and that's the whole process. But if you can be next to someone and you provide this safe space and environment, that's even more precious, because you can, that's where you grow together, right? But you will be even maybe taking a role of a parent sometimes, but you accept that. It's just because, you know, if you're not aware of those things, they can become some unhealthy behaviors, because you will be also acting from the space of your inner child and these immature actions. But if you both can kind of train yourself to recognize those patterns and be conscious about getting out of them and just kind of maturing, that's really helpful for both. I think we can answer the question.
Yeah, Jeffrey, hi. Thank you for
Mm-hmm.
being here. First, I love to see you here. Did either of you go through periods of time where the meditation was very difficult? Yes, of course. There was a moment of, I believe that was a 2, 3 years after the original ignition. And there was in 2014, which is about 10 years ago. For it, time flies by. There's a lot have been done in 10 years as a twin flame to it. There was a moment, there was a hard to meditate. There was a moments that you didn't want it to be as a twin flame. There was a moments that you don't want, you want to kind of like give up. There was a moments that you want to go in there. There was a moments of even as far as the meditations it goes in there. You kind of like, why do I have all this, but there is nothing happen in the 3D? You don't understand those processes, and it's gonna be hard for you to meditate. As far as on the other side in there, when you learning that the awakening as a twin flame gives you some different perspective about meditations, because the meditation is to zip it up the ego and connect with your soul. But when you awaken as a personality and there as a soul, you have this permanent connection. You're going to be find out over the years as awakened twin flame, you don't need to meditate, but you're going to be finding something else that it's linked to that in there. It is about the difference, the hardest time that you are going to be able to dealing within the energies. And that is going to comes in to tell you that the energies is affecting you, the vibrations is affecting you, but also you're going to be able to automatically kind of like meditate and go into the inner peace. Is before, for example, it could be a very just quickly sparkling and so on, actions and reactions in there, compared to right now, this constant state of meditation. Okay, because the inner peace is actually a constant state of meditations that you are practicing in there. It's gonna be helping out. But yes, there was a times that you don't want to meditate. I had hard time to meditate for too, but over the time I learned it that continue going into the journey. Even though that a lot of situations happen through life, I learned that it doesn't matter how hard it gets, the easier it gets when you walk into the journey as who you are. In that moment, that realizations, that helps everything in there.
But do you think it's proper to kind of push it through? Like if you don't feel like meditating, because maybe there is other method, maybe you don't need to meditate again, or like in this current state, or I think there can be different reasons why you find it so difficult, you know, because maybe you already reached that state that your vibration can be increased some other way, you know, because that's what I saw for myself too. Like there was maybe like 1 year that I was really being drawn to, you know, kind of sitting and half an hour and meditating like without anything. And I really could feel like I needed this, like I was guided to do that. While right now, I think maybe that's part of what Dio is explaining. Like you don't really need any reminders to stay present, because this becomes your habit to always catch yourself. You of course there will be moments that you're gonna be losing yourself, but you constantly feel connected. You don't need to kind of shut down your ego because you automatically do that. But maybe there is a reason. Maybe you're being guided to try some other way, you know, maybe because meditation is just the goal is just to bring you to presence. And maybe at first stages when you're beginning to awaken, that can be like an ego reason that you're just gonna getting bored, but you're gonna feel it, because if it's just about the boredom, you're gonna be finding strength to force yourself for that. But as you go along, you will see that maybe, oh, it's right now it's not serving you right now, at the moment. Maybe you need to explore different ways to stay connected. Maybe it's something with music, you know, there will be different things to experiment with to bring you even higher. So hopefully it
Jeffrey,
helps.
gonna ask you a question in there. You gotta be very kind of like looking at with that. If you have a hard time to doing some meditation, take a look at the main reason why doing meditation. For example, if you are gonna go through do some meditation just so you can reach out to your twin flame in kind of like reaching this higher level of vibrations, to send message out or to reach them out or to do something in there for it. It's kind of like a you chasing them through meditation. Okay, for it, that is totally inappropriate, because you're gonna find out that you're gonna have a hard time of meditating in there. If that for because the energy says like no, that you cannot do this, cannot chase them, cannot chase them to the energies, to the astral, and kind of like tell them what you need to do. It's kind of like you, because you can't talk to them at physical realms and so on. But if you kind of like put yourself in meditations just because of that, and it's a hard time, you need to understand the universe is telling you that's not the way. You stop chasing them on all kind of levels to understand that the things that needs to be happen, they should happen. And if you see why you have a hard time, what is the purpose and the reason for meditations, because the meditations in the proper energies, even the path of the samurai meditates in there so he doesn't have a mind, so he can be able to be neutral, so he can be able to concentrate only on what he needs to do, to go ahead and seek that he's the peacemaker, and that's what his job is, and to go ahead and be in this Zen mode in there. But if you have that Zen mode in a natural way, after you reach that peace for it, what does that make you? So it's so interesting in there but it's a very good question, because a lot of the people for it's like I'm meditating, but as soon as I'm meditating, I'm seeing it my twin flame and I want to tell them so many things because I cannot tell them and so forth. I don't know. This could be something that you should my kind of like look. But if you are meditating in there and you have a hard time about internal happiness within you, you should probably go ahead and meditate of why why you're not connecting into your inner child, for example, and have a hard time to meditate in there. No, not trying to connect with my twin. It's more of just to connect to myself more, or guide to connect more within yourself. If you're forcing yourself to be a meditate, the meditation is about she comes out she's a tool like a need. When your soul is within need, you just sit down and turn on the music and you can meditate. So for example, I can meditate, I use a cleaning shower, which is I sit down on the floor and let the water comes out on me during the shower, and I meditated under the water. So I allow that water to comes in and cleans out the energies within me for I haven't been meditate for quite a while in there because of it's not needed. But if you are kind of like looking at within the difficulties, because I can understand those difficulties. So sometimes you're trying to you have this internal conflicts within yourself, and you're trying to meditate in there. It doesn't happen. It's difficult. It's because you have not let it go of the conflict. You cannot go out and meditate when you are in a war with yourself. You have to calm down yourself, and then the meditation will begin. Because otherwise, you're bringing that war, emotional, ego-based energies that it piles up and they go in there. And you have to figure out what is the power of the ego within you to it. Because if you have that difficulty of going on meditations in there to is because you hold on to something. Because the soul, when you start reaching out in there within the soul is automatically going to tell you to relax, and you're going to be able to be in the state of the meditations. For if you're looking more for a guidance in there, maybe the guidance was given it to you, for example, but you didn't hear it. You don't like what you hear it. Maybe that connections to yourself, you don't like what you see within yourself, and you have a hard time in there to excuse me, reaching out. But take a look at the issues. The issues is going to be telling you really the answers of what the problem are, and the problem is going to tell you how to heal. But be very interesting if you can kind of like share, if you want, with us why you have that in there.
No, but with meditation, I feel it's kind of like constant preparation. There is one thing maybe to remember. It's we meditate because we want to be prepared. It's like a constantly building up the connection. That the answers that you're seeking may not come in the right moments that you're asking. Like very often you will recognize maybe you're sitting and there's some completely random thing comes to your mind and you're like, oh, I didn't ask for it. But this is like one way of navigating those energies, that we are not choosing the time when the answers are coming. It's just sometimes, a few months later, you are making up a sense of it. But by just putting this intention there, just sitting in there, and even if you have issues with this like non-guided meditation, you can try the guided ones, or some with the music or with some rhythm, so it doesn't get so much boring. Because honestly, I believe they are as powerful. If that's what you need, then that's what will be keeping you entertained enough to keep doing it and just spending this personal time. You can just experiment in those two. They are also valid, I know that there are different opinions about that, but there were times that I was just exploring different ways and different things were working in different times. But I can see how over time I was just being patient and just persistent. So, and those messages were starting to appear not only during meditation. That was happening when I was going to work. You just become more in tune. So you can see those little messages in 3D, which is even more powerful in my opinion, because you actually see them manifesting. While when you're in a meditation state, somehow you have to be pretty mindful that what kind of layers is information coming from, because sometimes the mind can also be playing its own games and you think this is intuitive message, but in reality there is something that you kind of projected. So I would just keep being patient with this process and just keep going and
Exactly.
Yeah, but thanks.
But those are good questions. As anyone has any more other questions, you guys can talk about it. But go back into
topic of happiness.
thought of happiness. A lot of the people think that the happiness is when you are going and you're jumping and you're like, yeah, wow. You're gonna find out the internal happiness within the soul when your soul is in peace. Then you're gonna have that little chuckle smile, like in your soul. And you don't have to say anything, but you have that little, you know how much happiness is in there. Because your soul reached that level of state when you finally like, you put your hands in your pocket when you walk into the street and you just like, just smile from it, really for sure. So you just look it up and you just thanks to the divine, and you have that experience. But you have that little, you got that little smile with an eyes, with an everything, and so on. And
Yeah, but one thing to remember, that happiness is a state or emotion, however you want to call it, but it's gonna be always mirrored out. So that's why it's so important to build yourself first, because you're gonna be mirroring that, and there is no other way to bring it to your experience rather than by attracting it with your vibration. So that's another thing. Like, if you really work on yourself and you're getting independent on other environment issues, so any other circumstances and people, you're taking off the load of, okay, other people can have to treat me this or that way and then I can be happy. So you're freeing yourself, and then on top of that, since you reach this vibration, it's gonna be sent out. So that's what you're gonna be attracting in your experience as well. So that kind of, again, bringing back to this topic of soul connections and aware connections and conscious connections, that's this powerful tool that you're gonna be attracting right people in your field. Because the stronger you are, the stronger partner or, next soul connection you're gonna be attracting. So that's, we should never forget about that.
exactly, but there is one more thing. Just when you were talking, good job by the way, is it talking? It's very good that when she talks and I talk, we get in these downloads between us, which is very good. Sometimes you want to stay in the higher vibrations. And if you're meditating to maintain this higher vibrations until that's what's going to bring you the happiness, you are not balanced. You're kind of like on the one side of the extreme, the higher vibrations. Or you're in the lower vibrations, you're trying to meditate to balance in there. It can be balance of the process of thinking. At some point, the power of the twin flames gonna comes in, the internal happiness that it's in there. So you have to be kind of like a mindful of where you are, because in the lower realms, when it goes in, they tell you that you have to understand this lower energy so you can be able to balance it on your own too. But Lorna has a very good question. I'm wondering if spirit might be wanting you to try maybe yoga or dance for movement.
I think that's for Jeff.
To more energy within your body.
Could be.
That could be too. But what would you need more energy? You have all the energies that you can.
No, but to move it, sometimes if it's too stagnant, it's like,
yeah, wow.
There's a reason you go for a walk, right? Like, especially after you have some upgrades.
Yeah.
I agree. Like, that's how I started too, right? Like, I was guided really to sign up for yoga, and like it still helps me, and I think it's even more powerful than meditation. Like, we all kind of find our tools.
Well, those walks when I had the initial downloads in the beginning, I was walking like 5-10 miles a day.
Well, it's nice, like, you kind of listening to your intuition. You always find your way to process those energies, right? Because maybe that's really what happens. Like, at some point you're gonna be anchoring down in 3D. Like, meditation will be kind of connecting you to those higher realms. But if you've gathered enough knowledge and you just have to start applying it, it will be asking you to, okay, you've gathered all this, how was it, like, potential energy, and now you need to change it into this, like, kinetic energy. So that's one of the reasons that sometimes you're getting kind of overloaded with this knowledge and downloads and all of that. But okay, now your body has to process all of this, and it gets interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting of that. When you awaken, actually, that, as you said, that potential energy, guys, you can be happy with the potentials you have. But that potential that you have in there, it has to be turned into something. And that's something when you begin to process that energy, those downloads, you beginning to have the life as it were thing on a personal level. We're talking about first. That is it, the energies that you are beginning to turning from, as Paulina said, from potential into kinetic energies. Then you'll be happy because now you're understanding the purpose of what the energies are trying to manifest within yourself, and brings a very powerful happiness because the things happened for you, the things getting it in there for. But when you're trying to you to control that energies, just kind of like higher energies and so on, you're trying to push it to, particularly if you want to force it towards your twin flame or counterpart and so on, the energy is telling you no, you gotta go back. You gotta allow your counterpart to do the internal happiness on their own. And this is gonna be a great moment when you understand you can't push them to be with you, you can't push them to move with you, you can't push them to choose you, you can't do anything. It's the divine, it's their personal power. When they do it within them, you're doing it the power from within. This is what the real connection will be. Okay? But again, it is about reaching out to your own happiness as a twin flame. In you, personal. Okay? That's how you're gonna be able to have this little chickle smile on your face when you were out there. All right?
Yeah, but just a reminder to everyone, right? Like that as we open up, it make it difficult to find these motivations, right? Like it's like, oh my god, nothing is working, and I don't have a power to fight anymore, and it doesn't make sense, and everything lost sense. But that's gonna be this very big test for you to start working on this, on yourself, you know, in those lowest moments, because it's easy to kind of be happy if when everything works as you would like to and you get all you wanted, all you ever wanted, and without really working on that, right? Like this is this potential that comes to you and it's presented to you, but maybe you would not be able to really appreciate it, because you know we always appreciate more what we've lost, or either what we've really worked hard to achieve. So that's how I think the journey is really, it's teaching you to appreciate yourself, your inner work, but also appreciate other person. Like we should not be taking people for granted, like never ever, as a twin flame, as a human in general, right? Like because we like to take people and things for granted, and this is a very risky thing, because we end up hurting each other very often, because oh, I can do whatever I want, and you will be pushing the bar even further, because you, especially if we talk about belief systems, like you're forever and ever with your twin flame and you cannot lose them. This is very dangerous, because you can find yourself kind of pushing beyond the limits, you know. We still have to remember we can lose people in this journey, and you have to be really responsible for your actions and just work towards the connection all the time, because things are tricky without that. So I think that's a very beautiful lesson as we learn as we go. When it gets hurtful, it gets painful, but it teaches you so much to appreciate each other.
Especially when you talk to each other, especially when you sharing yourself, you being vulnerable, you talk about freely, and on the other side, instead of having this pointing of fingers, on the other side you have the understanding. See the person understand you, and this is how this energy begins to flow, because the person understand where you've been, what happened to you, where you're going, and how you can make it better. That is it, the power of the twin flame, that they understand this process. And when that comes in, the internal happiness within you determines it, the internal happiness that you're going to have with others. And since you've been also wounded and so on and so on, that wound there turns into happiness. Excuse me. It's gonna be a very kind of like a, how to put this together. You'll be able to transmute by using the power of the soul. You're gonna be able to transmute everything in a total different direction. You're gonna be able to shift because you understand the past was the past. You let it go. It comes in the present, and with the present, you're looking a little bit, but you already made a little room for improvement. Okay, because you let go of the past, you have that little space inside of you, that little room for improvement. You improve, and guess what? That closes, and that moves into the future. Now there is a room for improvement. Closes, moves it, closes, and move it. This is going to be that process of happiness, because when you begin to improve yourself in a personal level, that is going to be reaching out your potential as a twin flame. And then that potential is going to be turning to those actions again to it. So that's what I hope, guys, this video kind of like help you out, those videos in there. We would love to hear more from you as a comments in there. If you have any more questions or suggestions of what you guys want to learn or want or advanced in the next level, let us know. We can go ahead and coming out, and we'll be happy actually to give you some energies and or at least an hour-based of experience of what we've been facing on a personal level together, and help you out with that. But great comments, great questions. I want to say thank you guys for asking those questions in there. But this is important, is to reach out for your own happiness. Because when you look at an outside and there for your twin flame, or outside for helping others, and there you have that happiness within yourself. You're forgetting about yourself, and you're gonna be drained. You're gonna have no energy. Jeffrey, I actually felt like I have pushed her. Felt like I was guided to, hopefully not by ego at the time. Felt like maybe I needed to stand up for myself. Any thoughts? If you pushed your twin flame, there was a like somebody came in to me like a month ago, and they continue seeing each other, but I don't know who pushed who, but one of them pushed the other, and right now they're meeting to each other, and they continue to play this what they call the dodgeball. Okay, when they comes in, they know they love each other, but they continue pushing each other. They continue kind of like don't forgive themselves. So if you pushed her like because she's pushing you, you're kind of like responding from your ego, and it may looks like you are guided, but you actually responded to the pain from the pain, so it can teach her how it feels to be rejected if she's rejected you. And that's what probably you push her. You push her because she wasn't reacting of the things that you want, and the base probably of your codependency in there, or if you're on desires, the way she has to act or react on that energies. And in the next day, maybe she was the one that wanted to be so nice towards you and so forth, and you push her. And you realize that you're pushing her, you're hurting her, and the next day you're good towards her. But that day she is pushing you. And when this game it turns out to be a poison or a toxic, at some point the connection is going to be dissolved in there. So we have to be very mindful, because a lot of the people, they don't have understanding and the knowledge of when these things is ignite between the people. Some of the people, they play in these games for years, this dodgeball game of push and pull, You push her, and the next day you're pulling her, but she's pushing you. So it's kind of like you two beating each other like this all the time. And guess what? When are you gonna be together? Huh? When are you gonna be together? No, we're not gonna be together. We don't have that peace. Just balance in there.
No, it's sometimes it can feel guided. Like there were several situations to me, like something made me say certain thing, and I was regretting the second I was saying this thing because I knew that's gonna snowball. But it was like something spoke it instead of me. And that really it brought this very uncomfortable situation and confrontation. So I consider these kinds of moments are being guided because you need to go through this experience. But at the same time, it's if you feel that you pushed someone too much and someone couldn't handle it, like that's for you also the sign, like is it, oh, maybe the person was not ready, because we are gonna be constantly pushing each other in a sense, right? Like we cannot avoid some talks, some confrontations, and based on this experience that we have right now, no matter how uncomfortable it is, and it may feel like, oh my goodness, that's the last test and we probably that's either make it or break it, but we are still being taught that we have to choose ourselves, because the moment I would be compromising myself and he would be compromising himself, the connection is, it feels off momentarily, because we are those connections, talking about those conscious and soul connections, they are based on truth and they are based on your highest vibration. When if you want to build the highest, potentially the highest connection you can achieve here, you have to be at your highest level, and you cannot choose a lower timeline, you cannot choose a lower solution, because you will feel like you're betraying yourself, and it's like your soul won't be happy to having you engaged in those lower versions of connection. So it's gonna be tricky, because your responsibility will be to choose always yourself and trust that the right connection will be staying with you and you will work it out, but without this fear that, oh my god, maybe I will say too much and I'm gonna push her again, because there is no freedom in this. Like you would feel like you have to tiptoe around someone, and you may hurt someone and someone will not accept the truth. So that's something to kind of be prepared for, that the journey will be asking you to stay authentic to yourself first. Don't worry that much how it will be affecting the connection, because the right connection will stay and will survive. So this can, that's my experience of this, at least.
Exactly.
So
And
not always it's the ego. Like there are situations that our ego is kind of reacting, but this will also, you will be catching. But if you feel that it was guided, probably it was, because that's how it feels in my experience.
ego fear kills more than the connection.
Mm-hmm.
Well, talking about that, the ego, the part of the ego that comes in, particularly at those moments when you pull or push your twin flame, you have to be very careful in there, because your ego can turn really the things south. But that shows you what you need to work for it. And the ego fears things. The ego fears that you're gonna lose the person. The ego fear so many things. The ego actually fears the love within the soul. It's scary. That love, in there, it's scary because of its power. It's the vibrations. It's something from within you that you feel it with every cell within your body in there. And this is a very crucial moment. But if you stay in the fears, guys, you're not gonna find happiness. The fear it's kill your happiness. Lauren, you are so right about it. Because staying on your fears, in there you manifest your fears. The focus on your happiness, you can manifest your happiness. See, the energy goes where the attention's. Yeah. And whatever your attention, if your attention is in your fears, guess what? That's what is gonna be happen from there.
Mhm.
So, all right. Inspired Renegade. Hi, how are you? Um, it's a thin line between ego push and disrespecting the other sovereignty too. Yes, that kind of like lines in there. When you're crossing the lines, you will know about it. There has been a lines, there has been a cross, and so forth. And the universe knows about it. Yeah, you can feel it in there. You can feel this kind of like crossing the paths, but those are lessons that you need to learn.
Sometimes they have to be crossed, right? Like it's just,
Oh
even
yeah,
though
sometimes they have
it's
to
not
be crossed.
the most mature way, but it has to show you your immaturity, so you can catch yourself the next time. Don't do the same mistakes again, because it's getting nasty after.
After that, it's getting nasty, and as soon as it gets
That's
nasty, there you'll learn there for it. Jeffrey, thank you. Appreciate both for
Welcome.
Jeffrey. You're welcome, and love the comments. Love the questions up here. To it, it's a delicate dance. Yes, that is a delicate dance. But over the time, actually, guys, I'm spoken about the current experience and in the past in there with the power of awareness, of understanding. This dance is turns into a beautiful waltz. Okay, you're gonna be turning to some very beautiful things as the twin flame journey is, and you're not gonna have this ego situations. Of course, there's gonna be some triggers. There's gonna be some things, but you're gonna be both able to handle it, not only in mature way. I'm talking about wisdom from the soul. And this is how your maturity of the soul is gonna comes in a kick then. But that's gonna be more in the future talk.
Yeah, but I'm glad that
it.
like Inspired Renegade, she talked about like respect. Like this is so important that you have to develop it on your own before you even enter the connection. You have to be mindful that there are some core parts that you have to make sure that you know that you are respectful towards yourself, but also towards other people. Those are this like a minimum conditions that you have to have developed in yourself before we even can talk about you entering the connection. So there will be, healing any of those codependencies, but really treating another person with respect, especially when we talk about entering after your ignition, if that's not your initial connection. And there's gonna be, we all go through different experiences, but you have to really act from this place of respect towards other person when you're entering the next connections, right? Because it cannot be like lack of like you go into the connection with someone else because of the lack of having someone available right now, because that's what people are asking sometimes, right? Can I enter other connection because my twin flame connection didn't work, so can I still choose my soulmate? And it's the question is, are you ready to do that? But without putting someone as like, oh, this is my option number 2, is your option number 1, and you choose someone with this respect and with this openness. So this is like, there are just a few things to keep in mind once you're entering this next stage, that you keep wondering, okay, what am I gonna do now? Maybe I should start working towards building some healthy connection, but based on these like basic principles. But thanks for the comment. I appreciate it.
Exactly. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you so much, and hopefully this video helps out. And remember, internal happiness turns to external happiness. And for that, I want to leave you with that, because this is what lead us in there. Maybe at the point of the journey, the things maybe weren't good, weren't great, and so forth. But your internal happiness is going to lead to external happiness. And that's what the message for you guys.
Good summary.
Okay.
See you again next time. If you have any suggestions, just please comment. It's super helpful always to answer the proper questions that are bugging you.
Exactly. Beloved guys. Bye-bye.